this should help. I don't know if they're all set to semi-transparent. I think this layer needs to come down a bit. Oh no, it's got markings in it, that's fine. All right. Well, I'll probably end up blending them downwards. It's probably the only way I'll get them to come down a color. The headset sit on that. Pretty good. Okay. So I have used swatches. I have used, I think, where is that one? Use this one, that one, that one, that one, and I think that one. Yeah. All right, let's see. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay, that's 5. This one could be just doubled over with that, and some of the parts around the underside could be just left darkened. That would be easier. And then I have the lighter shades to deal with up the top. I don't know if I'll use this one. It is part of its color. Might just leave it as like a transparent over it, actually. Look at the layer. Bring it up to here. Give me this one. See how this comes out. About a 20%. That or above that. Honestly, there's no real difference between this and that layer. A little bit of brightness, but that's about it. Probably make this tiny bit darker. 30%. Yeah, that's a slightly better shade. It's nicer. Let's get this thing renamed so I remember to keep it on a percentage. 30%. Oh. All right, how's it going? That's pretty good for like if I zoom out and if I turn off the background for the moment. It's looking pretty good. Once I get in a bit of this darker red, it will really pop, I think. And then I have to bring in some lightness to it. It's looking pretty good, honestly. Not mad. I do feel like this could be darker. A headset, I might make it darker. Not that it's going to matter much. Honestly, the light grey kind of works. Light grey might actually be better option considering how orange this is. Okay. So I want this one. I want one of these ones duplicated. This one? Yeah. Let's duplicate you. It's gonna be fun to try to pick out the entire layer. Ooh, fucking hell, that looked alright. I think they're gonna really need to be on like different opacities. Yeah, whatever that is looks alright, honestly. Let's hide that and hide lines. Hide your eye. White background going. It's gonna be fun trying to select every bit of this to repaint it. Not obviously gonna manage to get all of it, but see how it go. I think I mostly just want the inner side and tail and stuff. Looks like I've mostly got it. Yeah, all right. Give this a whack. Hide that for a second. All right, I missed a couple of spots, but that's fine. Grab them. A lot easier to find something once you change its color. Okay. All right, calm the fuck down, movie clip. Just change that over. I want this one above it. Then I want to see the lines above. Ooh, it kind of pops a little bit. Let me unhighlight that. It's not right color yet, but I'm getting there. So I think I mostly want things like, not that big. I don't want a lot of the stuff in here. For that. And I would say probably the legs. Something like that. Okay. Get you at about an 85. Kind of need it to be darker red, honestly. I know I pulled it from the prawn itself, but it needs to be darker than that. Brighter, sorry, it would be the better word to say. And swap. Yeah, that one's brighter. Okay. Like that. God damn it. That moment when you click on something, it's too fucking tiny to select. And it ends up selecting the whole fucking image. I have to do my best to select some of these parts. Fucking that's a right song. I think the brighter red will work a little bit better with this. All right. And lines. Yeah, the brighter red kind of works a bit better. Especially when you zoom out a fair bit. All right, I'll get a little bit of the pinks and stuff like that on it in a moment. Okay, swatches. Done that. Didn't end up using that. I think that's on its own layer. Now it's time for these couple. All right. So I want to bring out this one, but I don't want it to be that bright. About 60%. Off all these, turn on my prawn. Okay. This one's one of those easier ones to do because I've already done basically the reverse of it the whole time. Not that big. This will be lighter. Still lighter than that. Yeah, about that will do it. I love this song, but it does make me sleepy. Always listen to a lot of Kim Wilde's stuff. It's one of those things. It's always been like a part of my youth and stuff growing up. I find it very calming and relaxing. Actually, ironically, I used to play Diablo to this. One of those weird little facts. Kim Wilde is one of those ones where I used to just play Diablo and listen to it. The funny thing is, if I really wanted to, hey Azula, I could have just pulled the most realistic prawn and just thrown that in with a set of headset and been like, yep, that's good enough. But if it ain't drawn by me, I don't feel comfortable making an emote. One of those things, I guess it's like artist pride or something like that. I also don't like potentially using somebody else's work and not being able to credit them. I already feel bad enough that I can't credit whoever has the wallpaper that I use for my chatting screen. Not really a big thing about that. As well as being sooky. Mm. Okay. Oh, darling Azula, you can't even, can you? You're so mushy. I'm gonna take a guess. Nick's gone to bed because they tend to come down when he's going to sleep. When he's going to sleep, they're like, this room down here is a lot warmer. that looks about right. Except for what's going on with these legs. I'm not really a fan of that. And I think I was supposed to leave some pink up here too. That's all right, I could put it back. That's not pink. The old switcheroo. It's that one. Hello. Welcome in. Sorry I'm not chatting too much. I'm normally a lot more chatty and just kind of into the music at the moment. I am drawing a prawn emote. So, yeah. Already got a headset drawn. Yeah, I don't draw very often, so I'm quite slow, unfortunately. But, yeah, it is. I'm kind of hoping that, let me just change. Actually, I don't mind Jenny. Change it back. Yeah, no, I make some really weird emotes, honestly. And I prawn at my desk all the time. So I thought nothing would seem better than, a me inspired prawn. I've got to add a bow in here too somewhere. So it at least looks like me. Yeah, that will be fun. So far it's going okay. I'm just trying to get these color layers to kind of mesh before I try to kind of blur them together. I've also got my own music playing in the background as well. It won't be on my VOD, but you're welcome to jam out to it. I haven't quite figured out some of the settings that allows me to do things like that while I draw. I'm still an extremely new streamer. So, yeah. Right there. Also doing this with a mouse too. There's that. So let's finish some screw arounds. New Photoshop AI beta stuff. Scary good even for bad. Now looking around, has experience with it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm literally just using a free program called Gimp. Honestly, it's not that bad. It took a bit of a learning curve because I've used Photoshop, Corel Painter, something else. Well, I'd never heard of this either until my partner's like, because I needed to make an avatar, a PNG tuber, right? And he's like, "Oh, I used to use this program years ago. Why don't you give it a go if it's still up and running?" And I had a look, and I'm like, "It's not actually that bad. It takes a little bit to get used to. Like some stuff, you've got to like hold over it, like this. I don't know. It doesn't come up for you guys, but there's if I hold over it, it gives me options. Like this one's got 8 different options I can choose this between to customize and stuff like that. All sorts of stuff. But it's mostly a pretty comfortable program to use. And I mean, I'm only using a fucking mouse, so honestly, I don't need anything too fancy. As long as I can hit backspace, it'll be right. Okay. It's probably good enough with the pinks, except for maybe here it needs a tiny smidge. There and there. Open Photoshop for the first time. Yeah. Photoshop, my God. So Photoshop, the first time I opened it, I was the same thing too. I was like, oh fucking God, what am I supposed to do with this? And obviously I figured it out after a while, but I never really got good with like in this thing. I've since learned how to like, I've selected stuff. I know how to shortcut layers, all the things. So it doesn't take me as long to draw. Whereas Photoshop, I didn't have that knowledge. And that was kind of the program where you're supposed to do all that in it. Whereas Corel is hard as shit. I believe it comes with a Wacom tablet. And I used to have a Wacom tablet, but this is back in the days when you couldn't change over the nib, and I completely like I don't know, side angled it with my drawings and stuff like that because I used to draw fur. I used to draw fur, like literal layers of it, like without a special painted brush or anything. So it was a bit tedious. Um, Used it for 5 years and still nowhere near a pro. I don't know how many years you got to use Photoshop to be a pro. Some people literally just open it and it's like they're underwater, but they know how to breathe. And other people, it's like no matter how much swimming lessons you get, you'll never be able to breathe underwater, or at least never hold your breath as long as somebody else can. That's the way I look at it with Photoshop. It's just kind of mental. Okay, let's bring the colors through. I don't know what that color there is that's coming through one of the other ones. Some of these layers are too bright and I am going to like mesh them together, but that's fine. I'll work with that. Let's hide that one. Now I've got a really bright light here. I think I don't need that to be an individual thing. No, I don't want that to be called swatches. What is this? I'd say shine. It's like back shine. That's the thing is, yeah, they do know all the combinations and stuff. Like the thing is, I tried making brushes in this program, and the funny thing is, like if I want to, I can make a prawn brush right now, but it's not going to help me. Because I'm not trying to draw like several prawns. But if I tried to make like a star one that was slightly off this sort of shape, and it wouldn't let me save it. It wouldn't let me keep it or do anything with it. It was infuriating. Okay, where did I put that? There, that one. Got something open. It's not supposed to be open because the eye's open. There we go. All right, I need to take this shine. I do agree, though. Pretty much the only limit with these programs are how much you actually know. Down. I don't know a lot of like the fast stuff with it. Come back and make this a bit more better in a moment. Oh, yeah, I got to agree with that one. So I haven't had it yet at the moment, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen because I've got my PNG tuber open, and I've got music and my stream and all that stuff, and my computer can barely handle the game and the stream or what you call it, internet in general. So I'm hoping that it doesn't have too much of a problem, it doesn't crash. That's why I am saving pretty frequently. Let's take this down about there. I can work with that. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I haven't had it crashed yet, but I have had a couple of games not manage to do it. Like not handle it and stuff. I think I would probably cry if I got like halfway through something and it just died. Just download more RAM. Oh my god, monkey. No. It's how you get yourself good viruses. Like, you don't get yourself good quality viruses by not trying to download RAM. Bookman, by the way. I do need... One thing I have learned is I do need to give my computer a clean out. That's one thing I've got to do. I'm meaning to do that since for winter. Well, sorry, before autumn. I've been meaning to do that for a while. But I haven't done it. And I do think that that's contributing to it overheating. So my partner did his, and we had somewhere in this area did a whole bunch of like work. They're constantly putting in new like buildings and shit like that in our area. So every so often we just get all this dust. Of course, it settles in the house. Like the air conditioners and fans and stuff can only do so much. But yeah, I'll clean it out soon, hopefully. My partner wants to get some compressed air before we get in there. It'll be a lot easier, and I need a new CPU fan. Mine's just insufficiently powerful. It was fine for what I got. It's not strong enough for what I'm doing now. Oh, this is a bit hard to see, this one. How you doing, monkey? Um, there we go. Oh yeah, you wouldn't have seen the Minty form yet. 5 years you learned it from the workshop that had every single click in Photoshop counts as different image. Wow, okay. Samplers, any control Z you can do, history of redos, which you can have saved up as 14 gigabytes in a backup. Oh, Jesus. That explains a lot. I gotta admit, Gimp's got a pretty good, like, what do you call it, control Z. Like, if you keep going back, you could go quite far back. As long as you haven't exited the program at any point in time, it's fine. Like, if you have, you're fucked. But I can literally open things. I can merge layers and all that, and I can hit backspace, and there's no, well, not backspace, control Z, and it's fine. There's a lot of things I can do in here that's actually pretty good. I know I've used some other programs too. I just don't remember what I've used. The big ones are Photoshop. Uh, what's it? I think Photoshop CS2 was one of my favorite ones. That looks about right. Shouldn't need to bring in many more layers for this. CPU fans, which aren't too expensive. RGB lights, and you will lose your frames per second. Look, the fan that I'm looking at is the gnarliest looking fucking brown and cream fan. And it's one of the top of the fucking line ones for what I need to be able to keep my computer cool. But sweet Jesus, is it ugly. Grab a different song. Try this one. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking alright. If I take away the chair at the back and the swatches, I zoom out. I don't really have to do too much in the way of blurring because I think it will end up being about that big once it's an emote, honestly. Oh yeah, that was another thing too, is when I used to do a lot more drawing, I used to have, let me skip this a bit. There we go. When I used to be drawing a lot, I used to have a huge amount of RAM. And the funny thing is that the guy I bought the stuff off was like, oh, no, 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 you don't need that much RAM. And I'm like, mate, you have no idea how much my drawing program on its own uses. And he's like, you can't possibly be using that much. And I'm like, look, I could, if I had the RAM, I could record a video and show you how much it's struggling.